Now we'll be moving on to each region. And now we'll look at Atomy's core of success and the most important value of Atomy. It will be balanced life and life scenario. Let's see it together. Since you all have come to know about the tool known as Atomy, the manner in which you will succeed is dependent on the choices you make. But Atomy had a lot of social value that shows how it can be done as a tool to achieve success. Because many people have become successful with the business, and there are still people who are achieving. Although everyone is given the opportunity, not everyone can succeed. It all depends on what you decide. Now I think that some of you will be unfamiliar with the concept of becoming successful and how to achieve that. So I'll let you in on a secret. The best way to become accustomed to success is to do everything with a do-or-die attitude. And you not only become familiar, but also be good at what you do. People say, oh, it doesn't work, it's too hard, oh, I can't do it, when they haven't even tried. So the best way to do this business is just to go with the people and talk to them. Then you don't know what you should be saying, right? There's a trick to that as well. All you have to do is just tell them anything.
As you talk to others, you might or might not be able to answer them. You will be able to find out the question that they might ask and the things they want to know at that time. Talking with people is like riding a bike. You can't ride a bike by just learning the theories behind it, right? No one learns how to ride a bike by just reading about it. You might understand how to not fall by steering the bike, but you won't be able to do it without physically trying. Even if you don't know all the concepts, you could still learn how to ride a bike on your own. Do you think you could ride a bike without falling once? It's not possible. You will fall over and scrap your knees a few times before you could actually ride it. The fastest way to learn is by falling off a bike a number of times. As long as you have the confidence, you will get better by facing it. One person actually called me one day. She said, I told someone everything you said. But he doesn't understand, so can you explain it to it? The elderly woman put a young gentleman on the line. I asked him what the problem was. He explained that this elderly woman was his neighbor. He was saying the cosmetics were made at a nuclear power plant because that was what I had heard from her. I explained that wasn't the case, and I was called to clear things up. I informed it was Carrie. Afterward, he thanked me for clarifying. I asked him to put the elderly woman back on the phone. I explained the whole situation to her again. She then answered, Power plant or research institute, it's the same to me. In any event, the younger gentleman started doing this business, and the elderly woman became successful as her line grew. Whether it's a power plant or a research institute, all you have to do is to tell other people about it. Sooner or later, something will catch their interest and you won't suffer any loss for doing that. You will be able to succeed as long as you do this. The Atomy business is one that works. Compared to what has happened until now, the business will become much bigger in the future. Being determined to succeed is very important. Yet, not many people have this mindset. And that's the main reason why people don't succeed. You need to be tenacious about succeeding, but not many people know what is considered success. They think it would be great if I could make 3K or 7K dollars a month. Could you be wealthy with only 3K, 7K a month? Some of you are thinking, of course, that would be wonderful. I could just tell by looking at your expressions. If that's all you earn, then because you won't have any left after sending some money to your parents or the children, you will have a growing debt. With 7K a month, you might have a little breathing room, but you won't be able to live a decent life with that money. If you want to live a decent life, at least you need to have at least 3K and 4K a month. How could you send that amount if you have small amount of money? You need more money when you get older because you continually get sick and you need a caregiver. Since we all need to succeed, it is important to think about what success is and why many people are not able to become successful. So for this lecture, I will explain what success is and how we could succeed. All of this begin our life when we are born, and then study until the age of 30. We then work until we are 60 years of age. From 60 to about 90, as most people live until the age, and we live out, and there is even a scary rumor going around saying that if you are unfortunate, you will live until the age of 120. It will become a huge problem because this period would be a disaster. Living a long life without money is a catastrophe. As you become more vulnerable, what do you do when you are ill without money? Not only do you become lonely, but it also become stifling. Even when people prepare by studying for 30 years and then work harder for another 30 years to succeed, most of the people are not ready for the after retirement life. The statistics shows that only 1% will become rich. In essence, only 4% of the people become financially independent. Although they weren't wealthy, they didn't have to ask others for money. The remaining 70% had no job and had no money for their retirement. Even though the statistics was from another country, you get the idea of what it is trying to show. Even if everyone studied hard for 30 years, did their best to succeed for another 30 years by doing like back-breaking labor from dawn till dusk, why were only these people successful and the other 95% failed in their life? People wondered what caused this phenomenon, and one person who paid particular attention to the statistics was a man named Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie, who was born into a poor family, thought about what would happen if he was reborn into poverty. He wanted to know if he would be able to become successful again. He believed that even if he was born into 10 poor families, he would still be able to live the life of the successful person every single time. What gave him this confidence? It was due to the fact that Carnegie knew about the law of success and understood this law. Thus, he believed that the 95% of people didn't know about the law of success. That's why they failed. Why did the successful people have in common? Who achieves success? What do I need if I wanted to always achieve success? As Carnegie already knew about the law of success, he wanted to share this information with everyone. Thus, his idea were organized into a law of success. The law of success is very similar to the laws of nature, because you can't just define everything as a law. For example, the law of success were already predetermined. If you succeed, if you followed it, and fail if you don't. This is just like the law of farming. Since the law of farming follows the law of nature, you need to farm according to these laws. If you want to a successful harvest, you can't just do what you want. I will explain the law of success by using something simply like the law of farming as an example. Now, what's the first thing that the farmer must do? How much of what he's going to harvest in his mind. If he wants 2 bags of rice, what kind of seed would he need? He would buy rice seed, right? If he wanted a bag of peanuts and then both rice seed, he's going to fail. The farmer must first have how much of what he wants to harvest in his mind. With that goal that farmer has in mind, he will be able to control the necessary decisions. Similarly, if you want to be successful, you need to first have the image of the life you want in your head. Let's use this building as an example and say the building was actually first built in a place you can't see. Where do you think that is? It was built in an architect's mind. He had to decide if he would be 5 stories or 2 stories and build it this way and that before making it 2 stories in his mind due to the legislative system. Afterward, he drew out the blueprint, and the construction workers followed the blueprint and made the building. As such, before this building was built in the scene, it was first constructed in the mind of the architect. Likewise, you need to first picture your successful life in your mind. And then question becomes, what is considered a successful life? Answering that question is very complicated, right? The answer is complicated because we were created to be complex. As human beings, we have a physical body called flesh. Our spirit and soul resides within this flesh. Furthermore, we are surrounded by the environment. These 4 elements are what make us human beings. The flesh is not who we are, and you could think of it as your house. Our true essence is our spirit and soul, and they are the residents of this house. The flesh, which is our body, desire to live a long, healthy, and luxurious life, which could be summarized as to live well. Our spirit has its own desires as well. So what are its desires? Well, it wants to live in accordance to our conscience, and it lasts for the eternal. The spirit desire for eternal life, which is related to the concept of time. We could easily differentiate spirit and soul because the soul has the ability to control areas like your own emotion, the knowledge you learn. You could make decisions in these areas, and you could throw a fit, and then you could control whether or not to laugh. Learning and memorizing are activities of the unseen soul. Now animals don't have a spirit, and they have only soul. Since you could teach dog to bring item A or B, animals are able to be trained. They also have feelings. If you bother them as they eat, they will become annoyed. Dog will wag their tails in delight. However, animals like dogs don't have a conscience. Like let's say a dog bite your neighbor's dog. Have you ever seen a dog feel guilty? And it would ask itself, why did I hold it? Like you will never find a dog like this. Animals don't have a conscience, nor they have a concept of time. When we grow, we worry about our end. In the Bible, it states that He has always set eternity in the life. Eternity is related to the concept of the life. The spirit understands the concept of time. If you truly want to fulfill its desire, we need to know our Creator. We need to know why you are living and why you were born. Therefore, we need to love and be loved by our own Creator, which we summarize as to love. Furthermore, our soul wants to live a peaceful life, and it has a desire for knowledge, which means we need to learn. In terms of our social and surrounding environment, we have a desire to contribute in life with something beneficial. We need to achieve all of these things. If you can't attain all of these desires, you will have regret on your deathbed. For example, if you didn't have a healthy life, you would it be full of regret? Of course, you would. If you lived a short life and died at 30, you will bound to be full of regrets. It would be the same if you die poor or never got to live a luxurious life. What if you live a life that went against your wishes? You will if you died after always being angry and hating everyone, or you didn't accomplish anything and die without doing anything beneficial, you are going to have some time of regret or resentment. You must live a life that will fulfill the desires of your flesh, spirit, soul, and environment. You need to live that kind of life and set your goal to do so. And a life where you are able to satisfy all four areas is known as a balanced life. Again, this is called a balanced life. So, when you are setting your life goals and picturing your successful life in your mind, all four of these areas must be equally satisfied. Repeat after me: balanced life, balanced life. Live well, love, learn, contribute in life. It's important for you to envision this kind of life in your mind. You will create this image in your mind. Actually, these four areas are connected to each other. The flesh desires to live well. The spirit wants love. Memorize this, okay? Even if I tell you not to study, you have to at least learn this concept. The soul wishes to learn. This is quite simple. The environment desires to contribute in life. These four elements are intertwined with each other. They might not look much if they are separated. That's when people say, what good is living like that? And the reason why you must live well is because you have people that you love. To do that, you need to learn. With what you learn, you would contribute. They are all intertwined. If you don't live well, it's hard on your children. Your parents will be distressed. Since all these are associated with one another, love could fall apart if you don't live well. Many people say they get a divorce due to the clashing personalities. Yet when you look into the main cause is actually money. Let's say a husband brings home $30K a month. Would you divorce him because your personalities clash? Would you separate with someone who made $50K a month because of the personality differences? No one in their life, in their right mind, would do that. If the wife continually earned $50K a month, no husband would file for divorce due to a clash in this personalities. People don't separate because of personality differences. They go their own way because of money. I love my wife very much. I had I had to chase her for a year before I could marry her. We lived well for a while. The company I worked 17 years for didn't seem to be prosperous, so I left my job and started online shopping mall called IamKorea.com. As the business was too ahead of its time, it didn't well for a little bit at the beginning. I had to close down the business. When a company fails, not only do you lose your assets, but your health deteriorates as well. When businesses go under, you have to pay all the unpaid dues, the personal expenses and the overdue taxes. However, I didn't have enough to bring the money to home. I became credit delinquent and I also had to move into a small rental room. Not only did I liver disease worsen, but I also had glucose level in the 400s. My doctor friends told me that I shouldn't work when this happened. He said it was too late for me to help and told me to go to a bigger hospital. I went and received treatment at the hospital. Since I couldn't work and I didn't have money, what could my family do? Well, with that money, my wife brought home. We paid the rent and the children's tuition fees. Do you know much a woman in their 50s make? How much? In Korea, they make around $1,500. So the low end would be 1,200. Since we were trying to live on $1,500 income, our house were very cold in the winter. Whenever I came home, I tried to act strong by saying, "Honey, let's turn on the heater. We shouldn't save money when we don't have money."
After hearing this, my wife would say, "You don't think I'm cold?" My wife was telling me that I would have the heater on if you were making good money, but I'm freezing because you couldn't make a lot of money. So who are you to tell me what to do? I was actually telling her this for a different reason. I'm someone who believes that you shouldn't save money when you don't have money. Everyone, don't save money when you only make so little. You should use it as much because it's still not much. When you don't have much, it's better to spend it and live a little more comfortably. You won't become rich by saving that little amount. So when should you save? You save when you're making a lot of money, when you're making 30K, 50K as a royal master. Then you should set aside and save some money so you can make preparations for your retirement. That's when you can actually save money. You also shouldn't budget your expenses based on your income. You should first calculate the expenses for your desired life. And you must determine whether or not a certain job or business can accommodate to your expenses. Let's say you figure that you need 20K in your life. I'm talking about per month and not annually. Because you need a housekeeper at home, right? You might need a personal cook. You also should be sending your parents some living expenses and your children good education. And when everything's added, you can't do anything without 20 or 30K. So you need to find something that earns you at least 30K. Because 20K won't be enough. You need to be a person who makes 30K a month. So you have to first determine your expense and then find something that makes earning at least easier. And you need to find an opportunity that lets you make 30K, and you should do it. But if it doesn't, you should move on. Because we have people we love, we need to succeed. I love my wife, and I did whatever I could to marry her. But we started to argue when we didn't have much money. After 3 years of on and off arguing, my wife said to me, "Honey, let's separate once the children graduate." But now my wife is someone who does what she says she will do. When I heard this, I lost all the feelings in my leg and I fell to my knees. And I grabbed her leg and I started crying. And I think I was weeping for about 20 minutes. And I told her, "I can't let you go. You don't have a house to live in. And you don't have any retirement funds. So what are you gonna do? Just wait until I buy you a house and prepare retirement funds for you. I can't let you go like this, so please wait till then. And my wife looked at me and said, when? In 1,000 years? But now I've bought her a nice house. And I gave her retirement money. But now she doesn't say that she's gonna leave. So, if you want to rekindle the love you have with your loved one, you have to live well. Back then, I was so ill that I couldn't really move. I became extremely tired moving around for 3-4 hours. I lost like 45 pounds and had big wrinkles in my neck as if I was really old. And it was such a difficult time for me. I didn't know what to do. And I felt like I was trapped in a cave that was pitch black. And when you get to that point, you become afraid to be courageous. It becomes difficult to find the courage to succeed. And you fear that you will fail and fall back down into despair. So it's hard to have that resolved. Although it felt like I was trapped in this dark cage, I could still see a speck of light at the entrance. So I told myself that I needed to have hope. The best wish to have when you don't have any is to have hope. If you don't have any hope in times like this, there's no way for you to escape from the despair. So I did whatever I could to have hope. I told myself that I can get back up and become healthy again. I'll be able to lead my family again. I need to believe that all of this is possible. So even though there was only a trace of light at the end of the cave, I had to get up and walk towards it despite it being difficult. As I headed towards the entrance, the ray of hope became bigger. And eventually, I was able to leave the cave, and I was able to step into a world that was filled with a light of hope. When you feel like you're trapped and in despair, where you feel like you can't do this or that, where you are surrounded by rocks and obstacles, you must do whatever it takes to head towards that light. You're not doing the work you do because you're 100% sure that you can succeed. If you think there is even a percent of success rate, and even if you think it's not going to work out 99% of the time, forget about the 99. Walk towards that 1%. Once you go towards that light, it will slowly become bigger. It will gradually increase from being 1 to 2 to 10, and that light will continually grow bigger. So it is imperative that you have hope. For the people who you love, you must never give up. You gotta do whatever to get back up and get to the point where you can share this love with those who you care about. You have to make a movie, and it needs to be continuously playing in your mind. And you will be the main character of this film. You're also the director and the scenario writer. So it will look something like this. There will be smaller circles surrounding a big one. And in one of those smaller circles, you will write one thing that will allow you to live well. For living well, you can have health, right? For luxurious life, you can have a better house. For their basic necessities, nowadays we all need a car, but it's kind of costly. And what else? And we have love and travel to plan out your family trips, right? And to learn. You can have children and their education. Or you can even write about your own studies. For contributing, you might write volunteering. And there will be 10 ticks on these lines here. And you'll be evaluating your current health and score yourself out of 10 points. I might have 5 points for naturally healthy body, and for a house, you have to think about a house you want to live in and think about the house you have. It might be 2,000 square feet, but you live in 1,000 square feet rental. Then you might give yourself 2 points. For travel, you wanted to travel abroad at least once a year, but you never went for 10 years. Then you give yourself a 1 point. And afterward, you can connect these dots. And the shape that comes out is your wheel of life. If this wheel is small or jagged, it means that your life isn't going well. So you need to figure out how you'll make these a perfect 10. And once you do, this will become a round, big wheel of life, and it'll be able to roll well. You'll be writing how to make them perfect 10s by filling out the boxes in that form. And please write out your plan for your ranks as well. Give yourself a deadline for each. The senior members will all know very well how much each rank will take, so ask them and fill it out. And you can do what you can do now, which means you should be living a balanced life. There are many people who think, why go to the Success Academy when you listen to the same thing, when you can sell the products? These people eventually give up. So you need to come to the Success Academy every month. The people who never miss the seminar are the ones who succeed. When you're learning, you have to continue it. There are times when you get exhausted, right? People who come to Success Academy will envision making 30K a month, or buying a big house or apartment, or driving Mercedes-Benz or BMW. But once they leave, they wake up. They think, how can I get a house that costs this much and it's 2,490 square feet when I can't even pay the interest on my rental? I don't even have money for gas. How can I get a Mercedes-Benz? I must have been crazy. So they shake their heads and they forget about it. That's how you fail. When you come back to reality and forget your dreams, you fail. So as human beings, we have a tendency to snap back to reality after living in our vision. Then what should you do? You need to return to Success Academy and rebuild your vision and strengthen your willpower to stand firm above it. As such, you have to come every month and rewrite your vision every single time, because your life scenario can change from the month before. You have to refine and polish your dreams. And creating your vision is a crucial part of your success. You can't have a vision without confidence. Not only do you tell yourself what you're going to do, but you also have to tell your family, your friends, and the people that you meet. Because if you're the only one who knew, then you can easily give up on your dreams when it gets hard and you can see it from happening. Therefore, you need to declare your vision to others. After you write your life scenario, you should share it with your family. You tell them, we will be moving into a 2,490 square feet house. I'll buy you a Mercedes-Benz. I'll buy it for you, but you have to help me for 3 years, okay? That's how you should share your vision with others. You can't keep it to yourself. Ultimately, you'll turn your movie into a reality. This is the Atomy success system and the law of success. This is how all the successful people achieved their dreams. You must imagine the life you want to live in and play it like a movie in your mind. Your vision of learning 30K a month or 50K a month has to be created in your head. If you want to be successful, you have to be crazy. You have to be unhinged to be fanatical about your goals. Repeat after me. Achieve by dreaming. If you can't, you won't achieve. And I hope that all of you can become crazy and that you won't come back to your senses. And I'll end it on that note. Thank you.
구독, 좋아요 눌러주세요.